Today we are making peperonata and pasta, and you guessed it, it's Italian and it involves peppers. So stick a load of water in here for our pasta and we'll add a bit of salt to it. I always add salt to my pasta because it internally seasons the pasta, so it's got some saltiness inside it as well, and it just makes things a lot nicer. So give it a good load of salt and we'll put that on the back on 6, so a nice high heat so it will heat up quickly. And we're also going to do our olive oil and about 2 tablespoons or so, but I like to use loads. So just make sure that the bottom is good and covered, and that'll do the trick. And this one we're going to put on a medium-high heat while we're chopping up our veg. Cut it down like that, rip off the skin. I'm just going to give this a little chop up. So the proper way to dice an onion is to come in like this, and you're cutting from just to almost at the root, but you stop. Then we're going to do a cut in the middle like that, and now we dice. So you just go down like this. Once it gets a bit tricky, you just flip it over to the side, dice, get these bits, boom, and then we've used all of the onion and we got it beautifully diced. Stick in a bit of onion to see if the oil is ready. Not quite yet. Now we're starting to get some bubbles around the onion, which is what we want, so we're just gonna stick the rest of it in. Actually, I probably should have waited for it to be a little bit hotter than this. Yeah, you want to hear a bit more sizzling than I did. I was just kind of trying to make it a little bit too quickly. So now we're just gonna start doing the peppers. So the technique to do peppers is going around the top bit like this. Take this out. And then just give it a good tap. Now we've got the majority of the pepper seeds out. We're just gonna halve them and cut out the last little bits of seeds. Get rid of those. And then the best way to do peppers is just to squash them like that, and then they're much easier to cut. So we can just go in like this into just slices, and then come back. And I like them fairly small, so I'm going to dice them, but a lot of people will have more slices in a dish like this. And we're just going to do the same for all the rest of our peppers. Right, I'm just going to turn the onions down a little bit onto a medium-low heat. I've just got red and green peppers, but any pepper combination is going to work just fine. Cool, let's turn down the onions a little bit more, and the pasta water seems to be all ready. We're making a meal for a couple people, so you want about 200 grams of pasta. I'm kind of just eyeballing it. That should be a good amount there. And we're going to give the pasta a good old stir so it doesn't get stuck. And then obviously we're going to turn it down a little bit so that it can just boil nicely in there. Beautiful. That's all our peppers done, so we're going to add those into the onions. Only dropped a few, that's not too bad. Mix that all through. While those peppers are softening up, let's make sure we've got everything else all ready. So we're going to prep our garlic, and the way I do that is just cut off the ends, then crush, get rid of the skins, and now it's nice and easy just to dice up the garlic like this. And we're just going to make sure to keep on stirring our peppers so that they're all getting cooked nice and evenly. Also going to grab ourselves a bit of basil, and you don't want any of the hard stems, you might cut that off, but it's fine to have a few of the smaller bits of stem in there is all good. We're just going to give this a pretty rough chop, and the smell of fresh chopped basil, one of the best smells going. I often didn't used to have fresh herbs like this, but it's so nice to have something fresh to add to it. I've been really enjoying having a bit of basil and a bit of coriander about. We're also going to open up a couple of tins. We've got our chopped tomatoes. I've also chosen to get some aduki beans. Now, this is obviously not a traditional part of the recipe, but whenever I'm making a meal, I always make sure that there's a good amount of protein in there, and these seem like something that will go well with it. You could also use mince and kind of make it into a bolognese type thing. So let's drain out the bean water. Especially as a vegan, it's really important to get a good amount of protein with your meals. And I think it's something that's often neglected. People just end up having pasta with vegetables. Obviously you get some protein from the wheat, but apart from that, there's not a lot in there. And I think it's just an important part of any healthy diet, and something you need to be particularly aware of if you're a vegan. So giving those a good old rinse. We don't want any of the mushy water in there as well. Let's taste our peppers and onions, see how they're doing. Yeah, the peppers really softened up, mellowed their flavor and become a lot more sweet. So that's perfect. The first thing we're going to do is add in our garlic, and there's a cool little trick you can do with the garlic to make sure that it's cooked properly. So we're going to clear some space in the middle. We'll stick the garlic in the middle like that, and we're just going to cook it in here for about 60 seconds or so, just to bring out the flavors in it. We don't want it to just be like boiled garlic and warmed up in the sauce. We want to properly cook it in the oil how it should be, like this. Quickly check on the pasta because I think it might be ready now. That's good. Let's turn it off. It's still a little bit al dente, but that's what we want. We're just gonna drain it out and just drain most of the water. Don't need to get all of it, as we might want a bit of extra water in the sauce later on. So we'll stick that to the side and we're gonna add it in at the end. So garlic's been in there for a good 60 seconds. Let's mix that all around. Lovely, and we're gonna add in some paprika, and we want to kind of toast up this paprika. So we're gonna add it in now before the rest of the stuff. There we go, loads of paprika. It goes so nicely with the peppers. Again, not a traditional thing in the recipe, but when I made it the other day, I added paprika and it was amazing. So, oh, that smell of smoked paprika is so good. All right, let's add everything else in. We've got our chopped tomatoes, and they're nice because they just provide a little bit of extra texture rather than using a passata or something like that. Got our aduki beans for a bit of protein. Oregano, good load of that. Add in a load of salt, some pepper, some dried chili flakes, and of course a bit of basil. Lovely, let's get this all mixed up. We'll turn up the heat a little bit just to bring it up to a simmer. And now is the perfect time to have a little taste, because things aren't too hot yet, so you can properly taste it and see how the flavors are balanced. Now I'm just gonna kind of adjust the flavors, have a little taste, adjust the flavors and make it a nice sauce. So I'm gonna add a bit more salt, a few more chili flakes to get it spicy, do some more pepper as well. All right, the sauce is tasting great. Let's add in the rest of our pasta. If you like with the sauce, you can leave it to simmer for a little bit longer to bring out the flavors a little bit more, but it already tastes great like this, so you can just add the pasta in straight away. I'm feeling hungry, so I'm just gonna stick the pasta in, warm it through, and then get stuck in. But traditionally with recipes like this, you'll really leave it to reduce and thicken up the sauce a lot. One more thing that is beautiful to add at this stage is a little bit of red wine vinegar. It just gives it a little bit of tang, a little bit of extra acidity, and it's a beautiful addition to the meal. The reason I add it at the end is because the flavor can kind of cook off a bit if you add it in too early, so there's no point. Just stick it in towards the end. Same thing goes with lemon juice or something, how I'll always add a lemon juice kind of at the end of making a curry or something like that. Leave this a minute or so to warm through, and then we're gonna serve everything up. All right, that's all beautifully cooked up. Let's turn it off, take it off the heat, and we're gonna serve it up. Oh, this looks good. It smells so nice, very sweet. Let's make sure at the end to get a good load of sauce on the top, just like that. Now we can add a little bit of basil. Let's go with this bit here, just to make things look fresh. Boom! There we go. Lovely. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of salt, because I love adding some salt at the end, because it creates these lovely little salt moments where the salt dissolves and you get a little lump of it, and I love it. And a bit of pepper while we're at it. Let's go. Now, should I have added the basil leaf on after? Yes, is the answer to that question. And am I just going to shake it off? Right, this is so ridiculous what I'm doing, but I'm going to give it a little wash, because I think it looks nicer having a fresh one on top. There we go, that's better. Like I said, just adding that extra bit of salt on top gives it a lovely, more exciting flavour. Really rich and sweet peppers. I love the aduki beans in this. That's like a great source of protein to have in it. Nice spiciness on the back end with the pepper and a little bit of chili flakes as well. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Leave a like if you did, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.